So the intros are always the worst bit of anything, but for whatever it's worth, I am Cal McMillan. I'm a photographer, filmmaker and digital marketer, and I help artists and small businesses use visuals to reach the right people in the right place at the right time. Today I'm going to quickly run through a campaign I recently did for the Glasgow-based instrumental rock band VASA. They very kindly had me along to photograph and film the release show for their excellent second record, Heroics. I'll leave a link to that so you can go give it a listen, get a bit of context on what a good band sounds like, because I'm sure plenty of you need a bit of help with that, in the description below. After I shot the show, the band then asked me to help them find a way to get more people to listen to Heroics, and we decided to do that by using some of the video I shot from the show to launch a listening campaign to make more people in the band's target audience aware of the album on the streaming platforms. So the first thing to do with any digital campaign is to ease the friction towards the goal. The goal in this place being making people aware, or ideally clicking through to listen on VASA's new record. The easiest way to do this when it comes to getting the streaming services is to lead everybody to the same place where they can then choose, or at least be made aware of, the streaming service of their choice. So we used a service called Spread to do this. It allowed us to build a landing page where I was able to embed a direct link to the album on all the streaming platforms that was on, as well as links to the band's own Bandcamp where they can sell physical merch, and also embed the band's latest music video. So what this allowed us to do was have a page where we could track all the interactions, where they were coming from, which would be useful data for future campaigns, and also make it as easy as possible for somebody to click and launch their streaming service with the album available to them. But also it allowed us to conduct a brand awareness exercise in making people aware of exactly where VASA's music was. The reality is you're probably not going to find somebody through advertising who's ready to listen to your record at that exact moment, but if you can make them aware of where the record is really easily, you've vastly increased the chances of them remembering about your record and going to find it when it suits them to listen to it. So that was the goal here, to make everybody aware of where the record was, how easy it was to get to, take them there if they really wanted to, and also just kind of give a sense of scale and legitness to VASA's campaign by having them land somewhere that looked professional. The next step was to figure out who we're targeting, what was the best way to target them. What I decided to do was to use Facebook and Instagram custom and lookalike audiences to target this campaign. A custom audience is an audience that you generate based on interactions with any of your assets, whether that's your Facebook page, your website, your Instagram page, videos that have been watched, etc. And a lookalike audience is when you take all that data and use it to map onto new users on Facebook. So it's when you take Dave's profile and look at the kind of things he does online and the kind of thing he likes to then find out what Steve likes. Why custom and lookalike audiences? It's very simple. Nobody's discovered their favourite band from a 30-second advertisement from a generic looking music video on Facebook. That's not how people discover the things they love. It's through word of mouth, it's through the recommendation, it's through what their friends say. So by targeting people we already knew were interested in VASA and more likely to positively interact with the advert, we then used their interaction to generate word of mouth. So by Steve liking the video, his friend Paul saw it and maybe clicked on it and did like it and spoke to Steve about the band, and then he goes and listens to the record. Or Jim goes down the pub to talk to Bob and he happens to mention he was listening to the album as well because he remembers seeing it because of the ad. These are all kind of more difficult elements to quantify, but the fact remains that this is the best way to use social media to your advantage as a band, is you have to put it in front of the people that are more likely to share it and influence their friends to listen to your music, and you can do that in a number of different ways. But for this campaign it was more about putting it in front of people that we knew would like the record and then making them talk about it to their friends to reach a new audience. So with the targeting in place, it was then time to optimise the ads. It was simply a case of taking the videos that had been created from the live show and then optimising them for the various formats. So we stuck with a widescreen format on Facebook because it still supports that kind of video, and then on Instagram we opted for a 1080 by 1350, and then for the stories placement a 1080 by 1920, just to make sure that people were being greeted with the video taking up as much screen real estate on their device as possible, so it became a lot more impactful and eye-catching. So here's how the results for the campaign turned out. For every penny the band spent, somebody performed a valuable action, whether it was a like, a link click, a share, a comment or a video view. For every single penny, the band got something out of it in terms of building their audience and making more people aware of the record. In total, we reached over 15,000 people with the ad. It was clicked on 527 times in the space of a week, which had a conversion rate of around about 7 to 8%, which was pretty excellent considering you can't make people listen to a record when they're not ready to listen to it. But above the average number of people that actually clicked through to the ad immediately went to listen to the album, and the rest of those 500 people were all made aware of where the album was so they can easily find it. The video itself was seen over 6,000 times. When it came to impressions, the band had over 24,000 of these, which is excellent. In marketing terms, the average number of touch points before somebody converts is around 7. So the more people saw this over the week we were running the campaign, the better, because it greatly increased the chances of them interacting with VASA's content later. For every 9 pence the band spent, we were able to drive somebody to the landing page. You can do the math yourself on that, but across the space of a week, for every 10 pence the band spent, somebody performed direct action from the campaign, which was clicking through to the streaming services. And then for every penny they spent as well, they were able to quantify that as some sort of valuable action. So you could calculate this campaign as actually having had 0 wastage, which is pretty excellent. These costs were able to be kept so low because we used the custom audience model. Had we not done that, we would have been doing in the funnel what is called using cold leads. Cold leads are where we would have targeted based on people who also liked live music and similar kind of bands. But the reality is, just because Peter likes And So I Watch From Afar doesn't mean that he likes VASA or that he's likely to click on a link just because that band might sound vaguely like a band he also likes. He doesn't know that unless he actually watches it, and it's much more difficult to make somebody watch something cold. By using the custom audiences, we were able to ensure that the leads we were going for were much more warmer, they were much more likely to engage, and because of that we were able to get the engagements for a much lower price, and as a result we were able to stretch the budget much further. If you're a DIY artist, this is an excellent way to help generate that kind of word of mouth if you've not got any outdoor or additional press that might maybe make somebody a bit more interested to click on you. This is a real way to utilise the data from the interactions you've generated over time to see really strong results. So in summary, we would call this campaign a success. The brand awareness results were excellent. We were able to drive a huge number of people to the site for an incredibly low cost, and by utilising the custom audience tools we were able to enhance the amount of data we have on the audience that are engaged with this band so that we can use that in future to drill down even further and always make sure we're reaching the right people in the right place at the right time. If anyone's got any questions on custom audiences or social for artists in general, leave them in the comments down below. I would love to help you with that, or if you just want to tell me how nice my beard is or to call me a cuck social justice warrior, I would love that as well. Any of those things would be great. If you also go to the link below, you'll be able to see a case study for this on my website where I go into a bit more detail about the rationale, the approach, and a bit more detail on the results and what they can mean for the band long term.